Thereafter, Kartavira Arjuna, having left with Kamadhenu, Parashuram returned to the ashram. When Parashuram, the youngest son of Jamadagni, heard what Kartavira Arjuna's nefarious deed, he became as angry as a trampled snake. Text 28. Taking up his fierce chopper, his shield, his bow, and a quiver of arrows, Lord Parashuram, exceedingly angry, chased Kartavira Arjuna just as a lion chases an elephant. Text 29. As King Kartavira Arjuna entered his capital, Mahimasti Puri, he saw Lord Parashuram, the best of the Bhrigu dynasty, coming after him holding a chopper, shield, bow, and arrow. Lord Parashuram was covered with a black deerskin, and his matted locks of hair appeared like the sunshine. Text 30, today's verse. Please read after me. Achodayat. He sent for fighting. Hasti with elephants. Ratha with chariots. Ashva with horses. Pativi and with infantry. Gada with clubs. Asi with sword. Bana with arrows. Rishti with weapons called the weapon called Rishti. So with the weapons called Rishti. Shatagni with weapons called Shatagnis. Shaktivihi with weapons called Shaktis. Akshohini, whole group of Akshohinis. Saptadasha, 17. Ati Vishanaha, very fierce. Taha, all of them. Ramaha, Lord Parashuram. Ekaha, alone. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ashudaya, killed. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Upon seeing Parashuram, Kartavira Arjuna immediately feared him and sent many elephants, chariots, horses, and infantry soldiers equipped with clubs, swords, arrows, rishtis, shatagnis, shaktis, and many similar weapons to fight against him. Kartavira Arjuna sent 17 full Akshohinis of soldiers to check Parashuram, but Lord Parashuram alone killed all of them. Purport. The word Akshohini refers to a military phalanx consisting of 21,870 chariots and elephants, 109,350 infantry soldiers, and 65,610 horses. So the one Akshohini consists of one Akshohini. Lord Parashuram fought with 17 Akshohini, but there's only one Akshohini is like this. So for your remembrance, forget about chariot, forget about elephant, only soldiers, yes, soldiers with a sword, 109,350 infantry soldiers. So if we make 17 Akshohinis, then how many soldiers are there? Anyone remember from yesterday class? That what we explained yesterday nicely. 17 Akshohini means 1,800,000 soldiers. So Lord Parashuram alone dealt with 1,800,000, roughly 2 million. Only soldiers, not including chariot and elephants. Yes. So an exact description is given in Mahabharata. So this is source of information from Mahabharata. Adiparva, second chapter, as follows. And then 8 long Sanskrit verses about the makeup of this Akshuhini. So I'll skip this long Sanskrit. I'll read only translation. 1 chariot, 1 elephant, 5 infantry soldiers, and 3 horses are called 1 pati by those who are learned in the science. The wise also know that 1 senamukha is 3 times what a pati is. So minimum, the unit is pati, and 3 times than that is senamukha. 3 senamukhas are known as 1 guluma, and 3 gulumas are called a gana, and 3 ganas are called a vahini. 3 vahinis have been referred to by the learned as a pritana. 3 pritana equals 1 chamu. 3 chamus equals 1 anikini. The wise refers to 10 anikini as 1 akshuhini. The chariot of 1 akshuhini have been calculated at 21,870 by those who know the science of such calculations, or best of twice born. And the number of elephants is the same. The number of infantry soldiers is 109,350, and the number of horses is 65,610. This is called an akshuhini. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Umiltam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you all for coming, Bhagavatam class. And before I speak anything, I'd like to seek a blessing from all the Vaishnavas present here, and the occult Vaishnavis also, and all the devotees who are online. And nowadays, more people is online than here. And also, of course, invisible souls, individual Vaishnavas, maybe here, for Srimad Bhagavatam Katha. Panchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhu vyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Today, we'll try to understand this translation and purport, and more importantly, how to put these words and purport into our life. So, are you ready? So, how many of you think this is a kind of mythology? Yeah, so one person fighting against roughly 2 million. Yeah, anyone thinks this is mythology? Yes? How many of you think this is maybe it's true, but a bit exaggerated? Hence, maybe a bit exaggerated. But no one agrees. Then how many of you think this is a correct and true statement? Yes, one person, but yes. But nobody, some people didn't put hands up. I think you think that this is underestimated, right? He may be 20 or 200 million he bought, but, it's a kind of humble statement. They say, cut it down at 2 million. Maybe I think those who didn't put the hands up, I think you are in that category. I'm also in that category too. But I'll prove why it's like that. So in order to understand this verse, I'd like to explain a little bit of the aspect of martial art. Of course, this is not martial art class, but I'll explain a little bit so that you can understand better. In martial art also there are three categories: Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttama. So beginners, and then intermediate, and then upper stage. So for example, there is a bricks here. Yes? So if you are in the beginning stage, think about beginning stage means it's like when you see the movie like Bruce Lee or Jet Li, or these are all Kanishta stage. Don't think Kanishta stage is like, that's the beginner. It's kind of, you just start to learn martial arts. It's not like that. So there is 10 bricks here, yes? One, from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. So Kanishta stage, if you hit, top number 1 bricks will break. But if you become Madhyam stage, if you hit it, then all 10 bricks will break. But Uttama stage, if you hit right at the top, then bottom one, number 10 bricks will break. Number 1 to 9 will not break, it's intact. So he transferred energy in such a way, he hit exact target. Another example. Let's say there is only 1 brick. So if Kanishta hits it, then break in half. And then Madhyam hits it, and break into everything into pieces. But Uttama hits, you know what happens? It's intact. As if he didn't do anything. But if you picks up, and it crumbles like a apple crumble. So, Lord Parashuram, he killed 2 million. It looks like unfathomable. But in one sense, according to his ability, it's an easy job. Sometimes we see that, the martial art fighting. Even if 100 people attack 1 person, the person who knows martial art is very easy to deal with. Why? The strongest one, you pick a few and you defeat them. And the rest of 95, let's say, you defeat only 5 strongest one, and 95 in fear. Yeah? Once they are in fear, then easy to control their mind. So you are in fear of death, then life insurance comes, then, take insurance. Or if you are in fear of certain things, then you will get insurance. It's like that. You get controlled by the person who tries to control you. So if you have become expert in martial art, you don't need to touch them. You look, and then the person in fear, you control their energy, their mind in a way that you fight against this person. You make them fight against them. Rather than fighting against me, you make them fight against them. So you don't need to do anything. So this is how it works. So Kanishta stage, you fight, then you break bone or like the other opponent. But Kanishta stage, you don't even touch them. No weapon requires. And then, Uttama stage, you know how they fight? 2 opponents, they stand like this and fighting through the eyes. They don't move at all. And then, all of a sudden, fighting goes on hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and the perspiration comes. And then, this is a fighting between Uttamadhikaris, yeah? And then, they trying to win over the other person's mental energy and mind, and such an intense fight just by looking at it. And eventually, when the fight finishes, one person versus the other person. I'm lost. You are the winner. Thank you for teaching me. And when they leave, when they look at the ground, it's like a caved in ground. It's like a heavy stone. You put it and you take it out, and the ground is kind of dented. It becomes like the only 4 footprints will be existing. So this is a different aspect of martial art. But interestingly enough, all this one is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, we know that through the Bhagavad Gita, aham sarvasya parabhavo matta sarvam prabhartate. Everything comes from Krishna. So, this martial art also came from Krishna. So, Srimad Bhagavatam explains very, very nicely about this different aspect of martial art. Krishna stage, Lord Parashuram showed through this verse. So he took an arrow, he took a shield, he took a sword, he took a chopper. Actually, Parashuram means, Parashu means axe, Rama means his name. So originally his name was Rama. But after he's fighting with the Lord Shiva, under education with the Lord Shiva gave axe as a present. So that's why his name became Parashuram. So he used the weapon to deal with these 2 million soldiers. But upper stage, Krishna showed a very interesting way, upper stage of fighting in the 5th canto. And Ravana, in the 5th canto, Sukadeva Goswami explained a different planetary system. And the one planet called Sutala. Who is there in Sutala? Yeah, Bali Maharaj. So Ravana wanted to conquer the whole universe. So now it's turned to Sutala. So who is guarding Sutala? Vamanadev. So Ravana went to conquer Sutala. So, to conquer Sutala, actually he get over Vamanadev. You know what Vamanadev did? Martial art, there are different kicks. Yes, this is, let's say, feet. And then you hit like this, it's called front kick. If you hit this side like this, it's called side kick. But if you kick like this, it's called turn kick. There are many types of kicks. And if you hit like this, it's called axe kick. You know how Ravana did? I don't know how Vamanadev kicked. He explained here. I read the verse. It says, Yena angushtena pada dasha kandaru yojana ayuta yutam dik vijaya uchatitaha. So, dasha kandaru. Kandaru means head. Dasha kandaru means 10-headed. So Ravana came. Dik vijaya uchaya. So Vijaya. So he wanted to conquer this Sutala planet. But Vamanadev, he said, Yena angushtena pada. Here angushta, Tarjani, Madhyam, this finger called Anamika, and then Kanishtika. So angushtena pada. So with the thumb, because feet is toe. With toe, he just slightly hit it. And then you know what happened? Translation. When Ravana, powerful demon, came to gain victory over Bali Maharaj, Vamanadev kicked him a distance of 80,000 miles with his big toe. So just a slight kick from big toe, he kicked away for 80,000 miles. From here to India, how many miles is that? Huh? No. Similar. I searched to Google. 4,178.6 miles from UK, London to Delhi. So, for example, if you go to India, Delhi, and come back, it's called 8,000 miles. Because on the way to India is 4,000. So by one kick, you can go to India, to Delhi, 10 times you can return, 10 times return ticket you get. So brahmachari, if you, for example, need some, some break from the manner, you want to go to India, you know what you need to pray? Om, not Angushta. Kanishtika Pada Namaha. So you pray for Krishna's little toe. If you pray for Angushta Pada, then you go too far. So you get free trip to India and come back. So it's quite an interesting statement from Srimad Bhagavatam. But now, higher stage, fighting with the eyes. There is saying, in order to recognize Uttama Adhikari, you yourself has to be Uttama Adhikari. It's very difficult to recognize who is Uttamakari. So here, Krishna revealed the Uttama Adhikari level of martial art. But through Srimad Bhagavatam, only two people recognized Krishna's ability. Do you know who they are? Just guess. Bhima? No. Close? Not Bhima. Huh? No. Bhishma. Yes, Bhishma. Bhishma recognized Krishna's ability, especially martial art ability. Here, in the first canto, 9th chapter, Bhishma Stuti. He explains, Bhishma says to Krishna, Sista Bhasti Para Samikayal Akshana Hritabhati. Akshana means the eyes. You know, Purusha Sukha start, Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha, Sahasra Aksha, Sahasra Pad. Krishna's head everywhere, with 1,000. Sahasra means 1,000. Sahasra, Vishnu Sahasra means 1,000 names of Vishnu. So, Sahasra Shirsha, Krishna has 1,000 head. Sahasra Aksha, Krishna has 1,000. Krishna has 1,000 eyes. Sahasra Pad, Krishna 1,000 feet. So here, so Aksha Hritvati, translation goes like this. In obedience to the command of his friend, Lord Sri Krishna entered the arena of the battlefield of Kurukshetra between the soldiers of Arjuna and Duryodhana. And while there, he shortened the lifespan of opposite party by his merciful glance. So when Arjuna said to Krishna, Senayol ubayol rate ratham stapa me achuta. Stapa me, park my chariot, ratham, stapa me achuta, achuta, O Krishna, Senayol ubayol mate, in between the army. So Krishna drove chariot, right in between the army like this. So here Kaurava, here, let's say the Pandavas. Right, Krishna is driving chariot. By looking at the glance, he took all the life away. But still they are existing, still they are breathing, but life is there gone. Like a martial art expert, when they hit the bricks stayed still there. It looks like intact, but they're already gone. They're already dead before even war started. So that's why Krishna said, Arjuna, Nimitta matram bhavya sachin. You become my instrument, that's all. They're already dead. And another person recognized this Krishna's ability. Who's that? Any guess? Huh? Vidur? No. Here, Sukadeva Goswami. Here, Drishtya, by looking, Vidyuya Vijaya Jayam Utvighosha. Translation goes like this. Simply, by his glance, he annihilated all the demoniac kings on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and declared the victory for Arjuna. So this is the last verse of 9th canto. So Sukadeva Goswami winding up all the stories, all the Surya Vamsa story, all the Chandra Vamsa story. Jai Sri Sri Radha Gokulanda ki jai, Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman ki jai, Sri Sri Gauranga ki jai. In last two verses of 9th canto, in order to explain Krishna's Leela, he wind up all story. Basically, he geared up our mind to focus on Krishna. So in last two verses, Sukadeva Goswami summarized entire Srimad Bhagavatam, entire Mahabharata story. So in that last verse, Sukadeva explained that by merciful his glance, he killed all the people in Kurukshetra. So in this way, we understand that the power, the glories of the Lord. Due to this, some devotee recognize the powerful potency of Krishna's lotus feet. And then, I'd like to introduce you what Yamuna Devi said, that lotus feet of Lord and lotus feet of his pure devotee, it's very similar. The power is very, very similar. So one person recognizes this, the potency of lotus feet. And Yamuna Devi recalls here. When they were in England, in the early days, they used to walk together. And then there is one incident, or not incident, kind of one nice episode. Srila Prabhupada's boots, when they walked, Srila Prabhupada used to wear the boots, came well up to his mid-calf. And we had walked only a small distance, 50 or 60 yards. Then Srila Prabhupada stopped, turned around and said, there is some pebbles in my boot. Take it out. So he leaned on my shoulder and bent down and took off his boot and extracted 2 or 3 very small pebbles, which I put in my pocket. So Yamuna Devi take out the pebbles from Srila Prabhupada's boot. If I'm in her shoes, I'd throw away, but she put in her pocket. Because this pebble touches the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. This is Yamuna Devi's kind of bhakti. It's a whole devotion. You have to recognize. If you don't recognize, there is no use. In this way, our devotional service also, there are different levels. When service time starts, some devotee comes late for the service. 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late. Some devotees, they come right on time, but they leave on time too. But some devotees, they turn up earlier than their service, half an hour or 1 hour, and preparing, and mentally, peacefully chanting or meditating. And then when finished their service, and still, they're checking whether everything done properly or not. Kind of, there are different level of commitment, different level of devotion. If I give an example, as my service in the kitchen, the easiest job in the kitchen, you know what is that? Putting butter on chapati. You don't need much knowledge. You don't need to know how to cook. You don't need to put your strength. Just sit down and put the butter on chapati. There's 3 levels of putting butter on the chapati. I haven't observed. So one level is that you're putting the butter on the chapati, but you're looking at everything else. Talking, how are you? Where did you go last holiday? Like you're putting butter, but your mind is somewhere else. Yeah. Oh, how did you cook that? What did you put inside? But another level, of a higher level, they put the butter on chapati. That's simple. But uttama level of putting chapati. They putting butter on the chapati. They see whether it's burned or not, check, lift inside and out. Anything burnt, they take it out. So one time, a proper disciple came. She's from Italy. Wow, I was amazed how she put the butter on chapati. Normally put the butter on the chapati like this. You know how she did? Each chapati, like this. Like, the examining. So, we have to sometimes think ourselves what kind of commitment, what kind of devotion we are putting into our service. Here, I'd like to share with you one devotee who served Radha Gokunanda beyond our imagination beyond our perception of devotion. Like Yamuna Devi recalls Prabhupada daily routine. She said, here, Prabhupada daily routine. 1 o'clock, rise. 1 o'clock in the morning, not in the afternoon. 1 a.m., rise and chant japa and translates. 3:30 a.m., attends arti in his room, performed by either Purushottama or me. 4:30 a.m. attends arti, Srimad Bhagavatam class, and kirtan in main temple. 6:30 a.m. goes on morning walk for about 1 hour and takes Ayurvedic medicine and then light breakfast. At 9 a.m., chant kirtan or sings prayers alone in his room. 10 a.m., dictate letters. 12 p.m., take massage and bath. And chant Gayatri mantra. 1 p.m., respect lunch prasadam and chant more rounds of japa and then rest. 4:30 p.m., take a little fresh juice and frequently sit with the devotees for informal talks. And 6:30 p.m., attend evening arti in his room. On occasion, he expects a light meal. 10:30 to 11 p.m. retires. So he sleeps 10:30 to 11 o'clock and wake up 1 o'clock in the morning. So I've observed similar schedule like this amongst us, one devotee. Now he's passed away. His name is Jivapati Prabhu. By Krishna's mercy, I used to stay in the same room with him in the Brahmacharya ashram. His routine is like this. 1:30 he gets up and gets himself ready. And then, before he goes on the altar, around 3:30, he finishes his rounds. And then, from 3:30 to start the altar service, and then he finishes service around between 8 to 8:30. And then he goes upstairs in the ashram, and he takes bath, and then he'd have a breakfast around 9 o'clock. So 1:30 to around 8:30, around to 7 or 8 hours, he doesn't drink, he doesn't eat, every day. And then he eats 9 o'clock, he takes a rest 9:30. And then he gets up around 12 o'clock, and he takes bath, and then he reads Srimad Bhagavatam or kind of some extra rounds. And then again, 3:30 comes down, and he checks all the paraphernalia, and then he brings containers for the transfer, and starts afternoon service again. And then after all the service, and around evening, 9 o'clock or 9:30, he comes up, he had another meal before he goes to bed. So sometimes I asked him, Jivapati Prabhu, why you are not going to India? He said, you know what he said? He didn't say anything. So I moved out of the ashram. He hardly talks. Sometimes my goal is that try to get him to talk. So I'll say, how are you, Jivapati Prabhu? I have not seen you a long time. How are you? You know what he say? This is his answer. So I changed the tactics, to get him to talk. How can I make him to talk? And I said, at least I want to hear from one word from him. So I said, next time when I see him, I said, good morning, Jivapati Prabhu. Then I'm expecting good morning back. You know what he says? What's good about it? And then he goes on to his service. He's always focused, he never deviated. And his mind is always controlled. It's like in the verse in the Bhagavad Brahma-Buddha Prasnatma na shotati na kangshati. So there is no hankering and no lamenting for him. His mind always controlled. So then I was thinking, what is the secret of him and his mind is being controlled all the time? And I've noticed that he practices 3 things daily. You know what that's 3 things? 3 things is, one is yagya, the other is dhanam, and another thing is tapas. Arjuna asked, Bhayoriva Sudushkram. So controlling mind is like controlling wind. It's so difficult. And Krishna advised that abhyasena tu konteya vairagyacha griyate. 2 things. By 2 things you can control your mind. One is abhyas. The other is vairagya. Abhyasa means regular practice. The Krishna didn't explain in detail what practice we need to do. But I can see that Jivapati Prabhu, he practiced 3 things, yagya, dhanam, and tapas. Yesterday, Tadvavi Prabhu explained nicely why we need to perform yagya. But now I'll explain I try to discuss with you the internal aspect of yagya. Yagya means, before yagya they do mudra, after invoking the fire, you meditate on the Lord. You recognize the Lord, and then you invoke the Lord. And then ask them, stay in your life. And then you worship Him as Master. And then you become servant of the Lord. And then you ask Lord always facing you. And then you ask Lord to come to your heart. And then you touch the Lord's heart. And then Lord becomes center of your life. And then you become fully surrendered. And then you become all of a sudden protector of the Lord. And if you become this stage, your vision changes. So Jivapati's life is like that. He invoked the Lord, and then somehow Lord, he invited the Lord in his heart, and he became protector of the Lord. You know why? How I know? He used to sleep in here, right underneath the Lord Chaitanya's the feet here. So when he finished his evening meal, it comes around 9:30 to 10 o'clock. So 10 o'clock, we closed everything. And then he brings little mat, and then his sleeping bag, he spread it out here, he slept here most of his life. Like Lord Ram and Lakshman and Sita, they went to the forest. Lakshman never slept, because at night he was guarding Lord Ram. Like Lakshman guarded Lord Ram, Jivapati Prabhu always guarding Radha Gokulananda, Sitaram Lakshman here, right in the temple. In this way, somehow he tried to protect the Lord. And then, his vision is different than from us. If you go to, I know some of you do Pujari service. If you go into the altar in the morning, it's so busy. There's so many bathing trays. Lalita Saki Mataji, right? How many bathing trays? 3 bathing trays. And 2 arti trays. Arti for the 7 o'clock arti. Arti for the lunch arti. There's so many things on the table. So, but each bathing tray has many, many items. So, when he enters Pujari room, it's like as if the pilot enters into cockpit. You know, pilot, before airplane takes off, they have a minimum 50 checks. For us, before we drive a car, we have 3 or 4 checks, whether petrol is enough and the mirror is proper or not. 3 or 4 checks. Like this, the pilot has 50 checks, whether the wings working properly or oxygen check. There's so many checks. So when Jivapati Prabhu entered inside, it's more than 50 checks. Each bathing trays, the items there exactly or not, he checks. You know how he checks? He put number on each trays. 7, 6, 10, 8, 9. So each tray, he put a number. So this tray has to be altogether 9 items. This tray has to be altogether 10 items. And each item he knows, he put in the sequence, in clockwise. So as if he doesn't do anything, as he enter the anteroom, he just looks through it, and then he's going to other business, to other service. And then, as you go inside, there is a transfer trays. There are so many transfer trays. Transfer for the Mahaprasadam, transfer trays for the Mangalarti sweet, transfer trays for the milk and ghee, so many things. As you go inside, he checks everything. But so normal, it looks like that he's just entering the Pujari room. He's so aware. Details means devotion. Devotion means awareness. One time I was having a day off in the ashram, kind of day off, a bit lazy evening, afternoon, spending. And then he turned around and said to me, "Hey Patanjali, today you are not going to college?" At that time I used to learn English to outside the Westerholt College. Intermediate level. Still I'm less than intermediate. And I asked him back, how did you know that today is Tuesday, so I'm going to college? Oh, you told me 3 months ago that, I asked you, so where are you going? You said that you are going to college. So he remembered 3 months ago the daily routine, and when I break my daily routine, he's concerned. What happened? You're not going. He's that much aware. Puna Maharaj said once in the class, he gave Mahabharata class in Hungary. There he explains about realized soul, self-realization. You know what self-realization? He said, you do spiritual practice when no one watches you. That's self-realization, as simple as that. You do right thing to do when no one watches you. That is a realized soul. I had a practical experience. I'm not realized soul, but I had experience. Last Saturday we had the function that the 300 people was gathering, and then the kitchen team provided prasadam. So I went there to check whether prasadam was enough, and then they have enough spoon or whatever. And then they were serving section plates. So you know what section plates? There were 3 bins for the section plates. And then people putting the section plates in the bin. You know what happened? Even less than 10 plates in the bin already full. So I could foresee that if you leave as it is, then whole place will be just a dump of plates. So at a particular moment, I walked to the bin and I took out the whatever remnants they had and then emptied, and I put the section plates, stacked them together, around 10 of them. You know what happened? After that, people followed suit. So they didn't put straight away the section plate into the bin. They put on the corner, and then they stacked them up nicely. But interestingly, at that moment, I was proud. Wow, I've done something. And then there was more to come. Some people choose to not to be aware. There is a section plate, and there is a cups. They're stacking up. They just completely ignore and put the plate straight into the bin. It's their choice. This is a life. Someone said that life is B, C, D. Life is birth, life is death. In between, there are choices, C. So this is a life. So you can choose to be aware, you can choose to be not to be aware. So at that particular moment, I trying to choose to be aware. So again, I took the plate out and stacked them up. And of course, I washed my hands after that. So at that particular moment, I invoked my awareness. Sorry, the time is a bit going over, so I'm trying to end it up soon. So in this way, how to put these verses into practice is that conclusion is this. As soon as we open our eyes, 2 million bytes of information coming through our eyes. Our senses, not eyes, particular senses. As soon as you open eyes, you recognize the shape of the clock, the shape of the color, shape of the clothes. Can you imagine 2 million bytes of information is coming through our brain? But we go through the process that we're filtering. So only information, certain information will stick in. This is how our brain works. Yes? So, which means, if we are not Krishna conscious, if we are not aware, we have a challenge of 2 million bytes of deviation. As soon as you open your eyes, you'll see the curtain. Oh, this curtain doesn't match with my pillow. You may think like that. Anything you see, it can be your possible enemy or your possible challenges. But if we are aware, if we develop consciousness, then you can deal with these challenges. Prabhupada said, was asked once from devotee, Prabhupada, why is my eyes so strong? And Prabhupada answered back, why do you have weak determination? Why do you have weak determination? There are many challenges in our life. But those challenges, we can deal with it by upgrading ourselves. You cannot blame husband, you cannot blame wife, you cannot blame your children, you cannot blame your boss, you cannot blame your surrounding situation, you cannot blame anything. If you yourself upgrade your level of consciousness, then it can be easily dealt with. Either 2 million soldiers or 200 million soldiers, we can deal with it. How? Only changing ourselves, only changing our consciousness. This is ultimate purport of this verse.